Hey everybody and welcome to KM Reviews. I am Niddleman. This time I'm bringing you the review for Doctor Strange, which is the new entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This time it's about a egotistical doctor who gets in a car crash and messes up his hands so he can't do his doctory stuff anymore. And so, since modern medicine has kind of failed him, through the course of events he ends up stumbling upon the Ancient One who teaches him the mystical arts and he becomes a superhero. So there's a couple pros to this movie and a couple negatives to this movie. As far as the pros go, the casting choices were on point. Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One really surprised me at how engaging she was. I didn't think I would like her character, but I actually really liked her character as one of the most powerful beings in this universe that they show, and she is pretty freaking badass in this movie. Also, Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, he is the perfect casting choice. Next to Tony Stark as Iron Man, this guy as Doctor Strange it's just perfect. I can't see anybody else doing it. Also, another huge pro to this movie is the action and the effects. Okay, because if you ever saw Inception and you thought that psychedelic, street bending scene was kind of cool, that is just a minor tip of the iceberg compared to what this movie does. I highly suggest you see it in IMAX 3D if 3D doesn't bug you too much. But see this in the biggest screen you can because it is mind-blowingly epic and awesome. The things they do in this movie are so cool. I love that they barely show any of it in the previews because there's a real treat and a surprise to see it in the theater. All the crazy stuff they do, it's so fun to watch. As far as the negatives go, this probably isn't going to come as a huge surprise to a lot of people, but the villain. Mads Mikkelsen as the bad guy, he was a great actor, but just like other Marvel movies, they just don't develop that villain very much. Other than Loki back in the Thor days, they really haven't had a super good villain, and I was really bummed out because when they tell you the backstory of this villain, it sounded kind of compelling. They could have taken 5 minutes and just shown some of his backstory and what led him to doing what he's doing instead of just him doing it. Make us kind of feel for him, because some of the best villains out there are the ones where you can kind of understand their motives and you're like, okay, yeah, I kind of see where he's coming from. He just kind of went down the wrong path. But as the way it is with this guy and some of the other villains that fail, it's just a bad guy to be a bad guy. And to me, that's not that compelling. The other issue I had with this movie is simply put the length. It's under 2 hours long, which kind of presents two problems. One, I found the movie so entertaining, I just wanted it to keep going, so I was bummed out that it was so short. And the other issue is that it just doesn't give the movie enough opportunity to explore the very ideas it presents. Because, there's a big sequence where she's explaining about all this sort of stuff that's possible and all these different multiverses, and they got a library full of books of all these different powers and enchantments and stuff, and they don't really explore a lot of it. With that being said though, what they did do, they still did very well, and in the amount of time that they did have it, considering it was a shorter movie, they still put a lot in there. And again, it's I don't want to speak negatively about it because what I saw was so good. I was just bummed out that they didn't put more of it in there, which I guess is a credit to it because it's I wanted to see more, so I don't know. I'm hoping there's some sort of extended edition at some point. Very last issue I had with this movie is a very minor issue, but I also can't go into too much detail because it is kind of spoilery. But what I will say, without spoiling anything, is that there's a mid-credit sequence during the credits, and then there's also an after-credit sequence. Make sure you stay for both. But my issue is with the very last one, after the credits. When you see what happens, to me, I didn't buy it. I can't speak it in this non-spoiler review, but when you see what happens, you'll see what I mean. I just personally didn't think that really fit. I understand why they did what they did. They're following the comics and stuff, but it didn't fit for me. At the end of the day, guys, I'm going to give this movie girlfriend material. It's super entertaining, it's comedic, it's action-packed, but it could have been better. Alright guys, so who is your favorite Marvel villain so far? For me, it's Loki, simply because he has the most character development. Let me know what you think and comment below. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, basically everything at Niddleman. And if you want to get updated movie reviews every single week, make sure you subscribe if you can handle it. Go.